This is a free podcast from the BBC. For more information, you can go to our website, bbc.co.uk/Radio 2.
According to the experts, not scientists for a change, Sarah's already made this crystal clear, and I agree with her. Blue Monday. Well, certainly, if rain is not your thing down this neck of the woods, Loch Rise is virtually flooded. While I'm sure that you will do your best to lift the alleged depression, yes, well, we're encouraging depression. No, I mean, we're not encouraging, we're encouraging optimism, but the press, the media in general, are encouraging depression. The Optimist Society are tackling the problem in another way. They've sent cheer-up packages to certain celebrities and others they think need cheering up. So I wonder how Jeremy Paxman, Alistair Darling, John Humphreys, Jack Dee and the entire cast of EastEnders will react when they open their packages. Probably something will jump out of them like a jack-in-the-box. I'd like to hear what Ken Bruce says when he opens his. As there wasn't a great deal on the television last night, there's nothing on the telly. I decided to listen to some old theme tune favourites from years ago. Great themes such as The Devil's Gallop, Dick Barton, Special Agent, The Coronation Scot, Paul Temple, of course, and Barwick Green, The Archers, Left Bank 2, not a radio theme, the music which announced the Vision On programme, introduced by the great Tony Hart, who unfortunately left us yesterday at the age of 83. Yes, great man. Tony may be gone, but at least we still have his close friend Morph reading the news this morning. So we have, and we must be grateful. I haven't just read your biography. Steve Hollick says, 2009 will mark 40 years since you started on Radio 2. That's more than 2 life sentences. Surely we should all get parole. Monday again. Takes a good one to get past you, Pauline Lynch. Oh, Bradwell, Great Yarmouth, mind you. Just stick your head out the window around here. You can't see anything for the driving rain, so it could be any day of the week. Another week to have to worry about the effect of global warming. Still, if we all use our efficient energy light bulbs, we can counteract the increased pollution that'll be caused by Heathrow's proposed new runway. Look, Pauline, don't start getting involved in something that we appear to have no control over. I noticed on the rolling credits for Loch Rise to Candleford, they have a stunt coordinator. It must be for the bicycle scenes. Belinda. And Captain Tim Gustard, who keeps an eye on things for me and has the keen eye of the artist. Oh, BBC, the spell is broken. Yes, I watched Loch Rise to Candleford last night, and Twister goes commando. Oh, he likes to let the old air circulate. And Laura reads Don Juan, and Miss Ellison takes the bottle. Oh, it's only a matter of time, Tim, as you say, before Dorcas Lane is caught snorting cocaine. I was in a paper shop this morning in Cambridge, New Zealand. Oh, Jackie Harvey in the Bay of Islands. Dithering when I suddenly became aware of a nattering away in the background, and it was you. Then I was looking around to see where you were, and it turned out the owner of the shop plays Wake Up to Wogan on Listen Again. Sounds a decent man in New Zealand. There we are. 12,000 miles away. At about 6 o'clock yesterday, the chicken for our evening meal was browning nicely. Just a slice of British life here. The peace was broken by the ringing of the doorbell. Worried of Wolverhampton. Upon opening the front door, I was faced by 3 young fellas, aged between 10 and 13. Trick or treat, they said. Pardon? Trick or treat? But it isn't Halloween. Well, we was on holiday in Spain. Now, I hate to be a spoilsport, but 3 points came to mind, which I'm sure you addressed with them. Firstly, Halloween falls on the last day of October, not the 3rd week in January. Secondly, youngsters may receive a rather better response were they to make a bit of an effort, such as dressing up or preparing some sort of ditty with which to entertain the householder. So they just came, in their blazers, or their jackets, or the pullovers, and said, trick or treat. Thirdly, when I was the age of those boys, I'd never been to Spain, nor any country other than Blighty, for that matter. I did, however, have something called a paper round. Lady of the Valleys, oh, how sweet that sounds. I'd be in heaven, though I'm not allowed. I'd take you to the Dorchester, or even the Ritz. You see? And that's where it all begins to fall apart.
It started so well.
Well, what's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. Why couldn't you carry on?
Look, while you're there, Donegal of Atlantic View, Norwich, says, watching Lochrise last night, I was left wondering if the director was a listener to Wake Up to Wogan and had decided to base the characters of Thomas Brown and Margaret Ellison, our very own Johnny and Miss Bowles, the dress sense, the mannerisms, the accents. Astute casting, I'd say.
The sherry.
Which one's Thomas Brown?
He's the postman.
Oh, the postman. I do not want to be associated with that man. He can't ride a bicycle.
Can you? Aha! Well, we all know that Boggy has a tendency to sail round in circles, but I've never heard anyone explain why. Is it because he's totally incompetent, or simply that he lacks imagination? Alice Clark, there's no need. There's never any need for that kind of tart.
Just forgot to take the brake off, that's all.
Oh, you forgot to raise the anchor, is that it? Yeah. Look, the Deputy Assistant Recruitment Director to President-elect Barack Obama, to John Joe Mush. Hey, thanks for your application form and sample videos to be considered as our new president's official guest announcer at the White House.
Yes.
Yes, there is an amusing likeness between yourself and Abraham Lincoln. However, your offer to wear a specially stained cravat in the national colours of each visiting head of state would not add to the gravitas of the event. You see, you don't get it, do you?
Some people have got no sense of fun, have they?
We're worried about your two assistants who would complete the 3 8-hour shifts each day. The Welsh girl is already well known to our security services. We're awaiting the repatriation of 4 officers and 19 young ratings, missing from the USS Cyrus P. Frogcatcher's friendship visit to Cardiff Bay in 1998. And we're conscious of maintaining our nation's special friendship with the Owl Country, but the chunky veteran on the tape has the worst fake Irish accent we've ever heard. Honestly. And what do I get when I go back to Ireland? Oh, you're losing your accent.
Did you ever have one, though? Come on.
I did. Shouldn't I talk like that long before I came here? According to one advertisement on the TV, a change of name could be a change of lifestyle. We've all seen this ad, haven't we? Bruce Willis said he'd never become an action hero if he'd kept his name of Walter. And Ringo Starr says, apart from saying, base in love, clear off, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you, says being Richard Starkey would never have been acceptable for hip drum. Nothing about him being the luckiest man alive. He's not even the best drummer in the Beatles. So what name changes would have ensured that you, Lynn and Boggy, would have become icons of the silver screen? Oh, Lynn?
Yes?
Might have become a Titian-haired screen siren if she changed her name to Ruby Red. Ruby Begonia.
It's the movies that got small.
Oh, my word. Sunset Boulevard.
It's me.
Boggy, with his nautical beard, could have been Jack Flynn, a cross between Jack Hawkins and Errol Flynn, for seafaring adventures. Although he would have had to ditch the pink feather boa. And you'd never have gone for that, would you?
No. We never know when it's going to come in handy, do you?
The velvet pantaloons. And you, well, I can see you as Troy Ronald. Pardon? Troy Donahue and Ronald Coleman, is it?
Troy Coleman, yeah.
What a combination. In case the acting doesn't work, you could always whistle. Oh, hoops. You can't whistle either, can you? No, I can't. Can you whistle, Johnny? No, you're sucking, you're not blowing.
Oh.
A good man's fault.
Story of my life.
You see...
It's deadly.
Frightening. That was frightening. A whistling woman.
You should have seen how she was doing it. That was frightening.
No, it's good job.
Never have anything to do with a woman with big feet or who can whistle.
Oh, damn it. I'll go both.
Could you wish the happiest of birthdays to Teabag in the Lake District? I'd be raising superior glasses to her later, says Cocktail Claire, who doesn't need an excuse to be raising a glass. Len Horridge. Yo, big boys. Yo to you, Len. Big up to you. Look, it's all right for you to have a burgeoning TV career. It does me no good at all. You normally write at least 1 book a year, and as far as I'm aware, you haven't for a while, and if you don't publish a book, then it hits my book sales. Wogan and Me hailed as a work of slender literary appeal by the Thorner trumpeter. So would you get off the TV and write another book? Or else I'll have to sell the house. I won't be listening this morning. I was up all night watching the snooker. And I write for a Sunday newspaper, which, of course, in the interest of other newspapers, should remain nameless. I think your next role should be Minister for Get a Grip and Get On With It. Oh, Kate Jemison, it's good to have you with me. And my 15-year-old Listen to this. Nigel Watts-Morgan says, my 15-year-old was refused the purchase of a copy of your Sunday newspaper by our local supermarket. On calling the store, I was told this is company policy, as a newspaper may contain offensive material, and you need to show ID to prove you're over 16. For heaven's sake.
You're listening to the Wake Up to Wogan podcast from BBC Radio 2.
And the Lord of Bullock's Smithy in sunny Stockport, he said, first of all, I'll read his PS first. Can you arrange for a minute's silence for all those Manchester City fans who've already purchased shirts with the name Kaka emblazoned on the back? You know, many of us thought it was an early reference to Ulrika Johnson, but no. The ever-optimistic Lord of Bullock's Smithy sat sitting here and listening yet again to the doom and gloom on the radio. Yes, we've just heard this a few months ago. Cast your keen brains back. Newsreaders reported, in a doom-mongering way, it's not Johnny's fault, he doesn't write the stuff, that inflation was racing ahead at 5.2%, a huge problem that was going to cripple the country. Today, the same news is reporting, in a similar doom-mongering way, inflation is again an enormous problem. It could cripple the country because it's down to 2%. So, either way, we're banjaxed. So, today's the very day. Ah, indeed. Hank says the very day when anyone with any sense will close the curtains, lock the doors and watch everything they've recorded during the last week. Something big is happening in America, and we're going to be part of it, like it or not. I agree with the guy yesterday who, while being interviewed, said, from tomorrow we'll all be part of an abomination. At least, I think that's what he said. Oh, by the way, is there any truth in the rumour that BBC staff in the States are having to stay on? The rumour is that the big guns have decided that to bring them home for 2 weeks would be a waste of licence fee payers' money. Instead, they're going to be given 2 weeks paid leave before starting coverage of the next presidential election race. Rob of Nailsworth. Good morning, Robbie. What's going on? In every TV channel and radio station this morning, all they're going on about is the inauguration of the new American president. Why was I not aware of this? Surely we could have had some coverage of this election on the news. Come on, BBC. Yes, indeed. Let's have a little bit more of that election, please. Could we not go back over it again? Good morning. I just wanted you to know, says Lollipop, I've entered the Snapdragon stage of my life. Part of me is snapped, and the rest is dragon. Many a responsive chord struck there with that. I was shocked to hear the G word on primetime television. No, not the G word. Well, says Jan, as we know, the F word has been, well, just a little overused and overworked, particularly in the matter of chefdom. Yeah. However, on last night's Master Chef, cooking doesn't get any tougher than this. The woman, yes, she was John's favourite, who went into the next round. Well, yes, she's John's favourite. She's going in. Used the G word, not once but twice. What? No, not a sauce, not a reduction, not a jus. Gravy. I'm amazed by the candid revelations of the wannabe chefs on MasterChef, says Sralin Sugar. They come on with statistically little or no hope of winning the prize that will change their lives. Well, we just want an example. Give us an example of somebody whose life has been changed by winning MasterChef. Then we'll all believe you. Yet to a man or a woman, they've no compunction about dissing their current careers in front of the nation. So therefore, their current employers. Last night a girl came on, and I saw her indeed, who said that although she was a teacher, she didn't care for it much, but dreamt of the day when she'd open her own eatery. I'm sure her headmaster, headmistress, and the kids in her charge watched with pride swelling in their bosom. If I find any of my people, as Shralin Sugar says, as much as watching this show, let alone applying for it, the immortal line, "You're fired," could well come into play. Well, says Geraint the Hool, the Welsh correspondent. This year's Comedy Awards, a done deal. Last night's Master Chef will sweep the board. The fellow with the multicoloured goatee beard was only topped by the girl who dropped her tart just before serving. The winner has to be the fella who served up a plate of carrots, one of which had teeth marks in it. He'd taken a nibble, honestly. Now, just to give you prior warning, there will be a tale of homely folk. Yes, the Janet and John story a little bit later on today, kiddies. And good morning, Kay Martin. I'm glad that we keep you company of a morn. And also Elaine, she trundles through the day. And Norfolk Broad says, the first time I've written, but I must thank you for warning me about yesterday being Blue Monday. Well, we had actually turned it into Beige Monday, really. But Sarah Kennedy was right. Statistics showed that yesterday was the most depressing day of the year, and we hadn't even drunk any gin. And when I was woken up early by the pounding rain on the window yesterday, and then had to change my clothes, I discovered a mark on my suit jacket. However, when I slipped and fell out the front door into a heap on the driveway, I knew there was a reason, and the other events in my day, I spent 3 hours trying to do something on the computer that I didn't know how to do, was late for a lunch date, was asked to take a 10% pay cut to avoid the company having to make redundancies, put the slippers on, discovered the cat had thrown up on them, burnt the dinner, pigged out on chocolate biscuits, although I'm trying to lose weight, and it's only just gone 8:30 as I write this in the evening, but there's another 3.5 hours left of Blue Monday, so I'm going to bed in case anything else happens. Thank you again for the warning. Otherwise, I would have thought it was just a bad day. And I'm intrigued by last week's news that the space probe on Mars has detected the presence of marsh gas. God, I was wondering...
It's the old trouble.
Yes, you read those ads for trapped wind? I mean, it's not the trapped wind, is it?
No, it's the escaping.
Honestly. And listen, why do they have to have those pads for ladies when they burst into laughter? What is it? I've seen you laugh, but I haven't seen you run off to the loo almost immediately.
You're watching too much daytime television, that's it.
No, you can't watch enough.
He's watching the ads in
You
between
can't
the
watch
quiz,
enough.
isn't he?
You can't watch enough of daytime television, particularly
It's
5
all that
o'clock
sort
on
of stuff,
Channel 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is there something on then?
No, nothing that need trouble you.
Okay.
Now, look, we have a Janet and John story coming.
I denied now, and I'm not skipping anywhere.
And Tiny Accident, the president of the British Water Retention Underwear Association. Thank you for continuing to broadcast the Janet and John stories. Our annual sales have increased by 83% year on year since you started. Isn't that nice?
You're doing some good for someone.
I knew we'd turn out to be good for something. Janet and John. Today, John is going to the gym.
Oh, that's likely.
John puts on his sparkly orange tights with an aquamarine leotard and matching cape and gloves. Janet says, "Don't be late for the gym, John." Not easy to say either. "You know you have to be there by 10 o'clock before the classes start. I'll give you a lift to the leisure centre and pick you up afterwards." And when they arrive at the leisure centre, Janet says, "I'll pick you up later." And John waves goodbye, hops and skips to the gymnasium. A gold sports bag on his arm. And John sees Melanie Frontage. "Hello, Johnny," says Melanie. Mrs. Frontage has a private shop with black windows. See everything. And Melanie Frontage says, "You'll enjoy the classes, John. We do half an hour of aerobics, then half an hour of weights and exercise machine, and then we spend 10 minutes stretching." See John look worried. "Don't worry," says Melanie. "As you're only a beginner, we'll take it quite easy. I've been coming to classes for some time. If you want to wait for a few minutes after class, you can watch me doing some weightlifting. I'm quite good at the clean and jerk now." And the instructor says, "I'm probably ready to try the snatch." After John has been on the exercise bicycle, I can't read it, the rowing machine and the cross trainer, he's very hot and tired. Paint John's face red. After a little rest, Melanie Frontage helps John with the resistance machines on a low setting. And then John does some exercise with some small dumbbells and a medicine ball. Soon it is time to go. John gets out his super matey shower gel, his pink shower cap with the ducks on it, and his My Little Pony towel, and has a shower. When John has finished blow-drying his hair, he walks slowly outside. Janet is waiting. Janet says, "Did you have a nice time, John?" And John says, "I was very tired, and Melanie Frontage let me have a couple of tips before the class started. She said she'd show me some very good flow exercises. She didn't give me very much resistance, but I was quite hot and floppy afterwards. And Melanie said that if I wanted to hang around after class, I could see her snatch." Can you overhead press a full-grown traffic boy? Janet can. Poor John.
You're listening to the Wake Up to Wogan podcast from BBC Radio 2.
Am I the last person to know? I suppose you are, Louise. Have the rebels from over the pond decided to return to the bosom of the mother nation? When I watched the news about Mr. Obama's inauguration, I watched the whole thing. And I mean, along with the 2 million people who were there to watch it, they seemed to be playing a song that sounded like the usual rendition of our national anthem, sung by people who can't quite remember the words. Yes, well, it was Aretha Franklin singing it, and I don't know what it's called. It may be called America the Beautiful, for all I know. But it is, of course, the same tune as God Save the Queen. And frankly, I don't know how Her Majesty felt about it, but I would say just a little piqued. And Maison the Laird says, this Obama chap, he's a relation of yours, is he? The Emerald Isle has presented some mightily strong-talking individuals over the years. I'll lay next week's wages this new fella bends a knee on St. Patrick's Day. He'd be drinking the green beer. I'm not suggesting you're related, but as my mother always said, kick one and they all limp. Well, we've had celebrity cooks, amateur cooks, cooks cooking on mountains, cooks cooking in fields, amateur chefs, celebrity chefs, professional chefs, master chef, and last night, little chef. Ah, yes, I'm sorry I missed that. My old pal Heston Blumenneck was almost evangelical, apparently, in his zeal to change the eating habits of the British public. Yes, between him and Jamie Oliver, get your nose out of our food, okay? I don't know about you or Heston. Well, I know about Heston because I pass it every day. But I felt a headache coming on when one customer of the eating chain said she liked baked beans so much she ate 'em with her Sunday roast. Well, why wouldn't she? She can if she likes. And I met a fella last week who has salad cream with everything. Honestly, he spreads salad cream on anything and everything and has a little sachet of salad cream that he carries around with him. Watching the coverage of BBC News 24 last night of the momentous inauguration, yes, and I promise not to drone on about it because we've probably all had just a little bit enough we could do with a non-Obama moment. I couldn't help but notice that Hugh Edwards seemed remarkably chastened, lacking his usual composure and insouciance. It was only when one of the other BBC News team members, John Sopel, who looked like he was freezing to death, dressed sensibly, however, in a heavy overcoat and scarf, handed back to Hugh on what he described as Hugh's rooftop eyrie, that the reason for poor Hugh's dishevelled demeanour became obvious. He was broadcasting al fresco from a frozen rooftop. So much for the special relationship, relegated to the roof in the middle of a freezing January. Well done the BBC for not squandering licence fees on frivolities like enclosed studios. Good husbandry. I read, says Angiogram, I told you before, Angie, don't be reading things. You'll learn nothing to your advantage. That Top Gear's The Stig accidentally revealed his identity could be axed from the job as a consequence. The original Stig, the one who always wore a black helmet and suit, lost his job in 2003 when he outed himself in an autobiography and had to be replaced by the current Stig. So now perhaps the white suit and helmet have to be shelved. I see an opportunity for a tog to step forward. I will put myself forward, if you like, because I'm well known for my speed around that track in a very ordinary car. To fill the vacancy, show off some What about a beige Stig? I imagine if I put that idea to Jeremy Clarkson, he'd accept it readily. I don't think Terry Wogan should be allowed to retire. No, do you know something I don't? Samuel? What? They're not going to merge me with Channel 4, are they? Oh, look, and if you haven't had quite enough of Barack Obama, because we're trying to make this an Obama-free zone, but not very successfully, a certain donut manufacturer give away free Obama coffee for the ultimate Obama files. They produced the Barack Americano with the new president's face smiling out of the foam. George W. says, why was everybody watching the presidential thing? Didn't they know that you were on the other channel doing your evening job? No contest. I know who I'll be watching next time around. Well then, George, you don't think there's going to be another inauguration today, do you? At 5 o'clock every evening from now until doomsday. You never know. That election went on a long time. And many of you noticed the unfortunate... Hugh Edwards freezing to death. I'm still shivering this morning in sympathy with poor Hugh, struggling manfully when the cold had numbed all important parts of him. Like your other listener, says Sammy, I was watching the BBC coverage of Barry Fitzgerald Obama's pre-St. Patrick's Day parade in downtown Washington and was taken by the obvious discomfiture of Huey Edwards. From the start, he growled and grimaced from his rooftop vantage point while the sun beat down on his downturned physog. Meanwhile, colleagues and guests maintained an upbeat demeanour, in keeping with the joyous occasion. And when the camera panned back, we could see they were all sensibly wrapped up in rugs to ward against the chilly breeze. Hugh, however, he did look cold. Revealed his true tog status by sitting there wearing his lightweight suit. And when we next returned to the roof, he was gone. And obviously, Matron had taken pity. Lured him back inside, with a Werther's original, probably. And you can't open your mouth here without somebody giving you a good coughing. Well, Joe Finn, not tremendously aggressive, but I live on Leros, a tiny Greek island in the Dodecanese. And taking up, you see, I happen to mention, never go to a Greek island ending in os, you'll have to take your clothes off. Taking your clothes off is not compulsory in Leros, but the Greek fishermen would welcome it. At least with the ladies. Okay, well, if they're going to be picky. And tell me, these Greek fishermen, are they all wearing Greek fishermen's caps? Because, they're not real Greek fishermen if they're not. I should worry about being merged with another broadcaster. Well, we're not worried. We're just slightly apprehensive. I'm worried about being merged with another broadcaster. You want to worry about James May and Oz Clarke redesigning the geography of the country. Well, they're the worst for drink. Give them a chance. Last week's episode, the legless ones, were in Titnorth, Wigan. Aye, up and under, and Newcastle, why, aye, man. But last night, they began by crossing the Tamar Road Bridge, Saltash, Cornwall, and entered Bonnie, Scotland. Well, geography's never been the strongest suit. Forget Obama, ignore Brown, hold Churchill in awe in some respect, but can any of them compare to the great John Marsh? I don't know. I couldn't do that in front of him because I might burst into uncontrollable laughter. Double Shift Marsh will be writ proud and clear on his headstone. This retired sexagenarian, in every sense of the word, read the news from dawn till dusk on Obama's inauguration day. Capable of multitasking, John Marsh presents the news, plays his organ, sails the oceans. Why he's been overlooked for the BBC's fast-track promotion course, we'll never know. Does he work so hard because of loyalty to the BBC, his desire to please the listener? I don't know. It's the almighty dollar.
You're listening to the Wake Up to Wogan podcast from BBC Radio 2.
Considering that Barack Obama has had to go through the swearing-in ceremony again, says Lou Smorrels, who's a typical old toggy curmudgeon, so that he can become president, I'm forced to wonder why they couldn't have done that the first time. The second attempt took place in a small broom cupboard and was over and done with in about 20 minutes. It would have saved all that endless journalistic analysis and general hot air that was blown around on Tuesday. And since it took place indoors, nobody would have had to stand outside, half perished in the middle of the Washington winter. Good. Will George Bush now get an extra day's pay, seeing as officially he must have still have been president of the United States, as there was a muck-up in the swearing-in ceremony? I don't know. If I were him, I'd put a claim in, Lollipop. And also, good. I've just made me will, says Lollipop. Here it is. Being of sound mind, I spent all my money. May ruffle a few feathers. I won't be here to see it. How do I find you this morning? Gargling in the rain. Good. My son bought me a DAB radio for Christmas, which has an information bar relating to the programme playing, said David Hicks. It describes your programme as having dashing wit and humorous banter. It's obviously faulty. Do you think you can get the radio changed without a receipt? No? You won't get it. You'll get nothing back for that. David, I'm very glad to say. And if these reports are true, you need to watch out. BBC plans. The Guardian Diary, so the Gronier Diary. It's a tough school, broadcasting, is the quotation, and this is especially true of telly. Pity the well-regarded, reasonably proportioned radio presenter who met a senior TV executive recently with hopes of greater glory, only to be told, get on a diet, and then we might even begin to think of letting you on the box. Another figure, this time from 5 Live, made a similar inquiry and was told to lose 2 stone pronto. How, of course, the box puts on about £7, doesn't it? Yeah. What's the benefit of being slim on the television? Girls allowed do that. I've been listening to your show for some years now. Well, isn't that great of you, Adrian? And are you the worst for drink? And this is the first time I've contacted you. Good man. So here you are. You're getting my raise, are you? And I'm getting yours. I thought you might find it. I went to the doctor's the other day and he said, have you got pains in your legs? And I said, no. And he said, that's a pity. I've got some tablets for that. I say, I wonder if your other listeners is fed up with me. Probably is fed up with you, Sydney Harbour Bridge. Or fed up as me with being asked to take part in a survey. Bear with me. By people who want to sell satellite TV, double glazing or gym membership. Who's the one who comes on to your phone with an American accent and says that you've won a free holiday somewhere? Do you ever get that? Well, I've come up with a brilliant wheeze. While visiting our local shopping emporium recently, the present Mrs. Harbour Bridge and I were accosted by such an individual, leapt out from behind his advertising board, carrying a clipboard, beaming from ear to ear. His opening gambit was, excuse me, can I ask you a question? It nearly caught me out. However, I retained my composure, looked him straight in the eye, smiled gently and said, you have. Good morning. Oh, that's the way to do it. Look, have a bit of sympathy. These people are trying to make a living. I see the health and safety executive, says Lou, have started advising, which is the puritanical killjoy's way of saying you will obey this edict. Advising. Yeah. That music teachers should wear earmuffs in case their young students' musical squeaks and squawks damage their hearing. God help us. Wear a scrum cap. If I ever get hold of those underworked, overpaid prod noses of health and safety, I'll lock 'em all in a room somewhere with a constantly looped tape of Florence Foster Jenkins singing. That'll make 'em wish they had earmuffs. Oh, well, as a fan of Manchester City, says Richard French, I can't say I'm sorry we failed to sign that person from AC Milan. As a big fan of Ms. Khan records, I'm not convinced she could last 90 minutes against Newcastle next week. What? No, it's not Chaka. It's Kaka. Kaka-chan. Kaka-Khan. Well, it's been a couple of days. Yes, indeed, Bill Hollowell, media watcher. Yes, those nice judges from Strictly were called in to evaluate the dancing skills of the Obamas. And good old Len Goodman didn't disappoint. 7. Who'd be a politician? Says Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy to the rescue. Old Barack Obama has only been the job a day, and he's already been sworn at twice. And apropos of nothing really, I was thinking the new president and our Lord Mayor might go on the boards as a double act. How so? Bazza and Bozza. A laugh, a song, a stroke of a pen. And now do you accept that Mr. Obama is Irish? Sworn in twice, to be sure. Very funny, IDT. Captain, my captain, Tim Gustard. Bruce Springsteen has lots in common with you. He's nearly the same age. My dad was half Irish, like you, hasn't a note in his head. Who, your father? And then don't be drawing down comparisons between your father and me. It's been well publicised that we, the members of the Oscar Award Committee, are today announcing the nominations. Yes, indeed, all is excitement. The Brits are back for this year's Film Awards, but it's a little-known fact that we're launching a radio award, and the Wake Up to Wogan show is in the running. We're in the running for something, lads. First time we've troubled the starter for a long time. We're not judging on quality. We'll be all right then. But 3 vital points. Could you confirm that your breakfast show gang includes A, someone who can look genuinely surprised or at least bewildered if they win the award, B, someone who can manage it up the stairs to the stage to receive the award, and C, someone who can turn on the waterworks for at least 3 hours as they make their acceptance speech, or D, someone who looks good in a revealing sequined-encrusted evening gown. Oh, well, no problems there. Boggy man.
This was a podcast from BBC Radio 2. Get more information now at bbc.co.uk/Radio 2. And Wake Up to Wogan every weekday morning from 7:30. Online, on digital, and on 88 to 91 FM.
Wake up to